Mid-Hudson Regional Economic Development Council and the president of SUNY Orange, Dr. Christine Young. And please join me in welcoming the 57th governor of the great state of New York, Governor Kathy Hochul. And please welcome to the podium, Dr. Christine Young.
Good morning, and welcome everyone to this breathtaking Storm King Arts Center. My name is Christine Young, and I am the co-chair of the Mid-Hudson Regional Economic Development Council and also president of SUNY Orange. I am pleased to be joined by Hope Knight, president and CEO of Empire State Development. Mara Manis, executive director, New York State Council on the Arts. Catherine Nichols, chair, New York State Council on the Arts. Ross Levy, executive director, I Love New York. Assembly member Chris Ekus. Ulster County executive Jen Metzger. Town of Cornwall supervisor Josh Wojciechowski. Lost the Josh, though, sorry. City of Middletown Mayor Joe DiStefano. And my fellow Mid-Hudson Regional Economic Development Council members, Ned Sullivan, Jim Taylor, Tom Carey, and Robin Rosenberg. Thank you for being here. To be at Storm King Arts Center is to experience the power of place. And with that, we will do a land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that this is Lenapehoking, the ancestral home of the Lenape, who were forced from this land through colonialism and genocide. We honor the life held in its soil, reflected in its sky and waters. Grateful for this place, which inspires our work, we recognize Indigenous communities past, present, and future. We humbly commit ourselves to the health and wholeness of this environment, to deepen and share the experience of a living, learning, and creating space for all. It is an honor, as co-chair of the Mid-Hudson Regional Economic Development Council, to be here at a world-renowned place, the Storm King Arts Center, which has benefited the Mid-Hudson region in so many ways. The Mid-Hudson Regional Economic Development Council, as an advisory council, looks to identify projects that advance regional priorities and align well with its strategic economic development goals. The MHREDC regional strategy imagines a future that includes dynamic community centers featuring businesses and thriving industry sectors, residents from all walks of life benefiting from quality employment, and countless tourist attractions that make the Mid-Hudson a unique destination, place to work and live. To achieve that mission, the MHREDC has put in place a strategy of live, work, play. With the LIVE initiative, the Council seeks to continue to revitalize the region's community centers through placemaking, smart growth, transit-oriented development, downtown revitalization, and infrastructure improvements. With the WORK initiative, the Council seeks to attract and retain investment in the region's mature and emerging industry clusters. And with the PLAY initiative, the Council seeks to position the region as a premier tourist destination and enhance quality of life for those who live and work in the region. We can say without equivocation that the Storm King Arts Center has served as a model to advance the PLAY initiative, which brings tens of thousands of visitors to the region every year to spend time in our beautiful backyard. The MHREDC is thrilled to be supporting the Storm King Arts Center and see it develop into an even more exciting visitor experience for generations to come. It is now my pleasure and honor to introduce someone who knows what it takes to support these kinds of treasures. Please welcome the 57th Governor of the State of New York, Kathy Hochul.
Thank you. How can you possibly beat this for a venue? This is spectacular. Welcome, everyone, and I want to thank, first of all, Dr. Christine Young for her work, as she described, as co-chair of the Regional Economic Development Council, but also in her spare time, she's the president of one of our premier SUNY institutions, SUNY Orange. So let's give her another round of applause. And to all the REDC members, you're often the unsung heroes. We know you have regular meetings, you're making decisions, but you're also leaving a legacy. So to all the members who've toiled for many years, some of you who've been working hard as partners with the local communities to bring the projects that are meritorious to us, I want to thank all of those members as well. We are also here to acknowledge some interesting individuals. John Stern, to continue the legacy that was started by your grandfather. The torch was passed to your father, and in 2008 it was passed to you. And I would say that under your watch that torch has grown even brighter, a beacon of what the possibilities are when people have vision. And this marriage of the environment and nature and art is extraordinary. And as governor, one of the joys I have is I can go anywhere I want in the state of New York, and I often do. I've traveled everywhere. But when I come to a place like this, and I've known about it, I've read about it, I've understood it, but to see it in person is a true joy. So I want to thank you, John, for being the keepers of the flame for so many years, you and your family. Let's give a round of applause to John Stern. Mauro Manis, I want to thank you also for helping us find the very best and helping elevate culture and arts in our state. And as a result of that and your many years of service, we are a better, more fascinating place. Let's give another round of applause to Mauro Manis. We have Catherine Nichols, the chair of the New York State Council on the Arts, has joined us as well. Again, just one of those individuals who uses their own passion and their love of art to share with the rest of the world, and it really does help elevate our ability to attract tourists, but also the quality of life for those who we also call fellow New Yorkers. So thank you, Catherine, for all you do. Hope Knight, I see her literally every day of the week, and it's never in the same place. She travels as much as I do, sharing the good news, but also letting people know that we are open for business. And to us, arts and cultures is a big business for us. And so thank you for what you're doing as the leader of Empire State Development. Ross Levi, also the head of I Love New York. He makes us fall in love with New York every single day. So thank you and your talented team for helping promote all the great attractions and amazing things about New York. Also, we have great partners in government. We have our Assembly member Chris Ekas here. I want to thank him for what he does representing this area with such passion and heart. We're here because there's a story behind this place. There's an incredible story. Many people know the story of Storm King Mountain as the place that the modern environmental movement began. And it all began because people decided they were not going to be pushed around, bowled over, or be subjected to a decision that was made from far away but would have a direct impact on their lives. And that was when Con Ed, back in, I believe, 1960, decided that they wanted to use this space, the beautiful river just beyond, as a place for hydroelectric power. Now, they didn't count on a community fighting back. They didn't count on a community banding together, or how far their voices would go, all the way to Washington, getting the attention of President Lyndon Johnson at the time, and certainly I'm sure his wife had something to do with it because she was an environmentalist before it was a well-known phenomenon across the world. So what happened here in stopping that project was really put this place on the map as a hotbed of passionate environmentalism. And I'm so proud of that. New York is the birthplace of so many incredible movements. We put the women's rights movement up there. We talk about civil rights. The NAACP was founded in New York State. The LGBTQ movement, the labor movement, but I always put on my list the environmental movement that's began right here on this hallowed ground. So this is an opportunity for us to tell that story, make sure everybody knows about it. And Ross, that's your job to keep doing that. But also welcome artists and just embracing the incredible talent we have, not just in New York, but around the world. People wanting part of this story. And it is just an iconic place that evokes so many emotions and thoughts, but to have this be a place where we can showcase incredible sculptures and art and just get people to pause from their daily lives and soak it all in and realize how blessed we are, not just to live in a state like New York, but to have the talent surrounding us. So take a walk, breathe it in, embrace it, and you'll leave this place just re-energized and perhaps even a better person with greater appreciation for art, how artists lift our spirits, they lift our hearts, and they lift our souls. That is what we're celebrating here today. And we can also use this as a way to fuel our economy, without a doubt. More people come, the more attractions we have, the more investments we make, people will start taking notice. Tour operators start talking about us, not just here, but in other countries, saying you have to go see how magnificent it is. The place where a whole school of art was founded because you couldn't fit it into a description of any other kind of art because it is so magnificent. And right here, in this beautiful area, and I truly do love coming here, a sense of place, as Dr. Young mentioned, but also a sense of peace. And that is what I want the rest of the world to understand. So it can be a driver for our economy. Local businesses benefit, the hotels benefit. It can also anchor our economy beyond just these communities. But as I mentioned, sometimes it takes a little bit of resources. That's why I'm really proud to be here today to announce $90 million, not just for here, don't get too excited, $90 million the Council on the Arts is awarding to cultural organizations all over the state. Someday you'll get 90,000, 90 million, I'm sure of it. That's part of a larger grant of $150 million we're putting toward capital grants that we announced back in September. And these are going to be the larger scale projects, the ones that sometimes it's hard to fundraise for, but are masterpieces that we never want to lose. So we're going to continue supporting these. Also want to reach new and diverse audiences. There are a lot of people who may grow up in a household where they're constantly taken to museums and they get a chance to experience art. But what about the families where they don't? What about those children? What about those adults who grew up without having parents lead them to that path? We can do that. We can make sure that we are reaching out to diverse audiences, letting them know that they're also part of the story, but also we want them to have the same amazing experiences. So we're going to continue bringing art and culture here. This place here is going to you're going to receive an additional $7.5 million for the Storm King Art Center. That means we're tripling our entire investment to this magnificent place to the tune of $11 million. And I think that's going to go a long way here. And Storm King is one of 19 recipients from New York City to the North Country. We have found the most incredible venues. We also are supporting places like the National Black Theater in Harlem. And I want to thank Shade Lithgow. Did you hear? Let me pronounce this right. Shade Lithgow. Everyone screws up my name, Shade, so I'm always going to make sure I get it right. Thank you. I cannot wait to come visit. There's so many incredible things going on in Harlem. I will say this. I stopped at Sylvia's not that long ago. I thought I could say hi to some locals. Don't bother. There's nobody local there. I met someone from France, someone from England, someone from South America. So Harlem is on the map. And for you to be able to be the keeper of this magnificent resource for us, we're so grateful, and I look forward to coming and visiting time and time again. It's one of the first theaters of its kind. It's been founded and run by women of color for over 50 years, so that's extraordinary. Rebecca Kalos of the Empire State Youth Orchestra, with our support, will be able to take more young people to Carnegie Hall. And by the way, Carnegie Hall is also getting support from us, too, so we make sure that that is well preserved and taken care of. Davis McCollum and Kendrick Elklin. We're going to continue bringing Shakespeare to Hudson Valley, and I had a chance to go visit and see the incredible work that you're doing, and I just knew that we had to continue supporting this. There's so many different ways that you can touch the soul. It's with your eyes, it's with your ears, listening to the music. It's also just becoming engaged in a story that's over, 500 years old, hundreds of years old, that it continues to this day to tell stories that have incredible relevance to what is going on, often in our politics as well. There's a lot of Shakespearean things going on there. I'll leave that alone right now. Look it up. So we want to make sure that arts and culture remains indispensable as part of the New York story, and that's what this commitment is all about. And I will always make sure we do that. And to all the others and to the other elected officials who've joined us here today, this is a statement of our priorities. That's why when we do our budgeting, it can be a little bit rough and tumble sometimes. But the end product allows a governor and the legislature to telegraph our priorities. What's important to us? $90 million allocated to 19 organizations across the state of New York says our priorities are with our people. We want our people to have a life experience, whether they're touched by music or culture, visiting museums, visiting nature in a place like this. We want that available and accessible to all New Yorkers. That is what today is all about, and I thank everyone who has helped make this possible. And no one who's made it more possible on this site than John Stern, representing generations of support for just this ideal, saying that we can blend all these amazing experiences together in one place. Just come and find us, and you'll leave here a more enriched individual. John Stern, let's let you take it away on behalf of your family.
Thank you, Governor, for those lovely words. And I'd love you to have every time you can come, and I'll give you a tour of 3 hours, but a small one today. But thank you so much. And for this New York State's partnership on our capital project was really fantastic. The impact of the grant will be transformative, not only for Storm King, but also for many art organizations in our region and throughout the state. I am so happy to have all of you here with us today for this moment, breaking ground and celebrating Storm King's first capital project in its history, which is pretty great. We started with this project several years ago, and the goal was exactly what we were talking about, to have more people to enjoy the Storm King experience, seeing art in nature, and to make the experience even better. And we have ready accesses and better amenities. That's what we're trying to do. Also, where we are sitting in, just behind you, are the south parking area, and that will be reclaimed as a landscape for artistic programming and extending the area there where visitors can view sculpture and attend to public programs. So all those cars will be gone in another place. Another major goal for the project was to enhance Storm King, not only for visitors, but also for our staff and for our artists and our landscape and our art. All of this will help us maintain our leadership in the field of art and nature. And with the support of New York State and our project partners, many of whom are based here in the Hudson Valley, reaching this exciting moment was a collaborative achievement. And so I want to express my gratitude to Empire State Development, Hope Knight, and Ross Levy, is that right? Yeah. And the teams at ESD was just fantastic. I love New York, and Mark New York, thank you so much for being true partners and for your belief in the project vision. Thank you. Neister, I always get that wrong, sorry, who have been so strong a partner in reaching the project's sustainability goals, and we have a lot of them. And so thank you so much for your help. And then Niska, Mira, when I heard, I had heard a call about this, and when I received that, I was just so happy, as did my team, and we were really thrilled. And I remember I said, could you say that number again? So it was really wonderful. And Niska's support is making the project happening. So thank you. I'm also really grateful to our Storm King Board of Trustees, led by our chair, Roberta Denning, and several trustees are here today. And I'm not going to ask you to stand up, but I can see you there. My sister Bea Stern and Debbie Landesman, Jim Ottaway. Is Virginia here? Virginia Overton? And Lisa Stern, my other sister. Thank you. And I also want to recognize the fabulous project team that we've worked with in the capital project. So the architects, Hennecken Pang and WXY in Manhattan, and then Reed Hildebrand, I think they're here today as well. And then, thank you. And Gustafson, Porter, and Boundman, and then Consigley and Envoy. And there are many others, and I can't possibly name all the everyone, but I'm thrilled that many of you are here today. I look forward to welcoming everyone next year in our new entryway. So you'll come not into the south parking here, it won't be there. Visitors will come and see new open air pavilions, and you'll walk down the entrance path lined with native trees and plants, and sharing the art and landscape that makes Storm King such a vital and wonderful place, as the governor said. After this speaking program is done, I invite you all to take join a tram tour of Storm King, and I think that's just a very few feet from here. And then, but before that, let me introduce the Assembly member Chris Ekus, and we were talking a lot this morning, and he's worked also with Senator James Skoufis and has been a significant champion of Storm King with this project. So thank you so much.
Good morning. I will be very brief because all the great speakers just came before me, and I can't equal up to that. But I do want to make a few comments. First of all, Dr. Young, thank you for joining us today and all the work you do. The governor mentioned about OC. OC is right here in my heart, and you do a wonderful job. And so thank you for that very much. John, I don't need to only thank you. I have to thank the entire Stern family for everything that you've done to keep Storm King Art Center going. And you do an amazing job. And there are literally hundreds of thousands of people, with 200,000 people coming every year, hundreds of thousands of people that enjoy this because of your hard work and what your family and all the Board of Trustees do. Governor, you mentioned about the budget. I can't tell you what a huge part she is in that budget process. And without her, this would not have been possible. And I so thank you very much. Art is as close to my heart as it is to yours, and I thank you for backing this and helping get the money for us to do this. Thank you very much. I am the Assemblyman for the 99th District. Welcome to my district, as Storm King Arts Center is in my district. I have lived here for almost 50 years, and I've had the pleasure of coming here over that 50 years numerous times. But John had just mentioned that we were talking together, and I don't know if you appreciate this, but there is a city about 10 miles north of here called Newburgh. And I taught up in Newburgh for many years. I taught for a total of 40 years with my last 15, 20 years at Newburgh. And I don't know if you realize, but there are some students, as well as maybe even a couple teachers, that have never left the outskirts of the city. They do not realize the beauty that we have just down the road, we'll call it, from Newburgh. And now Storm King has some agreements with the Newburgh School District, and they bring the 4th and 5th graders in to take advantage of this. And let me tell you, for us, this is just peaceful and alluring, but for those students, it is just amazing. They go through such a learning process when they come here just to see fields wide open like this. And we try to teach them. Don't think about maybe so much what the artist was thinking when they built this structure. What does it do for you? What do you think about when you see these beautiful structures here, these sculptures here? And we encourage them, and John and I talked about this, we encourage them to be creative and to open up their minds and perhaps one day become artists themselves. I mentioned to John, I taught physics. A lot of people go, oh. But I can tell you this, my best physics students were artists and musicians, without question. They're using their entire brain. And this is a place right here, Storm King Arts Center, where students can come and they can open up their entire mind and they can be creative. So with that, again, I thank you all for doing this. I hope to be in the Assembly for a while anyway, and to be able to continue to support this. But thank you for that opportunity. Again, Governor, thank you very much for everything you've done, and I appreciate it. But let's get to the part that we wanted to, the groundbreaking.
It's now time to break some ground. We ask that you please remain seated for groundbreaking photos. Thank you. Please remain seated.
Gotta finish the pile. We haven't finished the pile.
My wonderful staff are looking and looking and like, oh my God.